And you are in Jordan right now and have had quite the trip to visit refugees. What have you learned about refugees that you didn't know before?
Well, I was very pleasantly surprised to see how welcoming they are. I had an opportunity to talk to many of the Syrian refugees and ask them, what is your supreme desire? And it was pretty uniform. They want to go back home, obviously. And I said, what kinds of things could a nation like the United States do that would be helpful to you? And again, I was a little bit surprised with the answer because it wasn't what we're hearing a lot. We're hearing that they all want to come here to the United States, and that's not what they want. They want to go back home. But they said the United States and other nations could be much more supportive of the Herculean efforts manifested by the Jordanians and taking in people at a lot of expense to themselves. And they cannot continue that without help from the international community. You look at last month, we spent $3 billion on Halloween candy. That's the amount of money that would need it to bridge the shortfall for a year that they're having in Jordan with the refugees.
Well, Dr. Carson, we've spent more than $4 billion in humanitarian aid, about $668 million to Jordan for the refugees. So what more could they possibly be doing?
Well, you have to go there and see for yourself.
Dr. Carson, I actually have been to the refugee camps, and particularly in Zatari, and found the same thing. They want to go either back to Syria, which doesn't look possible at this point, or they want to go somewhere else. They want jobs. Do you welcome them into America now? Has anything changed your mind?
Well, when you say, they want to escape the refugee camps, the main reason that any of them want to escape the refugee camps is because there's not adequate support there for them. If there were adequate support, it would be a completely different story.
But they don't want to stay there, Dr. Carson, do they? So, the people I talk to don't want to stay there.
They don't want to stay there permanently. They want to be repatriated into their own country. That's what they want. And is that going to be easier from a neighboring country, or is that going to be easier from the United States of America?
Dr. Carson, I want to ask you, you visited a Syrian refugee camp. What did you learn there?
And I had an opportunity to talk with many of the Syrians, and that was very eye-opening, asking them, what is their desire? What is their main desire? And their main desire is to be repatriated in their homeland. And I said, what kinds of things could a nation like the United States do to help? And there was a pretty uniform answer on that, and that was they can support the efforts of the Jordanians. The Jordanians have done a yeoman's job in terms of putting up these camps, but the reason that the camps are not full is because they are not supported by the international community.
So your assessment visiting there is that Jordan could take all the refugees, it's just a matter of getting more financial resources?
I think Jordan could take a lot more of the refugees than they're taking right now. And in terms of money, when I looked at the refugee camps in Jordan, there's about a $3 billion shortfall annually. That's how much money we spent last year on Halloween candy. I mean, is it something that can be done? If we bring 10,000 or 25,000 of them to the United States, that's not solving the problem. That's a little Band-Aid that makes a few people say, hey, we're good guys. That's not what we want to do. We want to actually solve the problem.
So how make the link between Halloween and the refugees for me? Are you talking about a national fundraising drive, or?
I'm talking about in terms of the amount of money that it would take to fund the shortfall. Our country has done a great job in terms of providing support. There's no question about that. But I believe that, the entire international community could easily make up that $3 billion shortfall. My point in comparing it to the Halloween candy is to say that, this is not a big deal.